This guy, Pat Toomey, also a senator. Yeah, who knew, right? Ever seen him before? To get to the Senate, Pat Toomey worked at Chemical Bank, and then he worked at an investment bank called Morgan Grenfell. He's a Harvard guy. Pat Toomey. On your average day of news, your average day of life in America, the names and the basic bios of run-of-the-mill senators like this, they are the furthest thing from most people's minds. Who they are, how they do their jobs. On most days, those things do not make a ripple. And then there are days like today, when these four men really deserve to be very, very famous. More famous than they've ever been before in their whole lives. Right now, American troops are fighting the longest war in American history. Until last year, American troops were fighting that longest war in American history alongside a second war, too, in Iraq. Two of the longest wars in American history fought at the same time by a population of troops that makes up less than 1% of the American population. Think about that. We have put an incredible burden on a proportionally tiny sliver of our population. And they did not get to those wars on their own. They didn't start those wars. The government sent them to do that work in our name, right? A grateful nation and all that. Well, now Americans coming home from those wars have an unemployment rate that is 35% higher than the national rate of unemployment. Everybody's having a hard time in this job market, right? But veterans coming home from these wars have been at war. They have been doing things at their job for their deployment that employers may not understand on a resume. Kandahar and Baghdad don't exactly easily compare to the other addresses that employers are seeing on people's application for work. And so the unemployment rate for vets is significantly higher, 35% higher than it is for the rest of the country. But that disadvantage in the marketplace for jobs, that disadvantage that vets are at, that disadvantage is something that we did as a country. The government, in our name, sent these folks abroad, and now they are coming home. And it is these guys you have never heard of before, like Senator Boozman and Senator Johans, Senator Burr and Senator Toomey, who today decided that the country doesn't actually need to make good by veterans on this particular problem that we as a country created for our veterans. Today, Republicans in the Senate filibustered the bipartisan Veterans Jobs Corps bill that was totally paid for and totally bipartisan. In the vote, 5 Republicans did cross party lines and sided with all the Democrats who voted for it, but the Republicans still blocked it with a filibuster. And so we have no Veterans Jobs Corps bill, thanks mostly to these guys, the lawyer, the optometrist, the football player fraternity guy, and the investment banker. If I could write their names in the sky, I would write their names in the sky. There is no plan B for a Veterans Jobs Corps bill. They killed it. They cannot try again for it until next year.